Welcome to our YouTube channel here at the Mundelein Church of the Nazarene and our ongoing series, Not What You Think. We're going through things that we believe. Yes, we believe as Christians, but also specifically what we believe. It's a little different, and it might not be what you think. That's why we've named the series the way we have. And this week we're talking about the perseverance of the saints. Now, that is words that you probably don't hear much at church, and there's probably good reason. That kind of springs from a certain way of expressing Christian doctrine. A number of weeks ago, we talked about the way Calvinists approach the faith, and one of the things that they believe is something called the perseverance of the saints. In short, they believe that once you are a Christian, that status remains fixed for the rest of your life. In short, there's literally nothing you can do to place you outside of God's will. Now, that might sound a little strange, but it's part of a larger theological system that they've set up. And one of the things that they say is that if you are part of God's elect, there's nothing you can do to resist salvation. Well, if there's nothing you can do to resist it, and if you're part of the elect and it's inevitably going to happen, then of course there's nothing you can do to remove yourself from the status of having salvation or the status of being part of the family of God. However, that strikes a lot of us as odd because it doesn't seem to square with life. All of us have known someone, maybe someone in the family, maybe a friend, who spent a lot of their life living a certain way, and then something happens and all of a sudden they abandon the faith and they pursue a completely different path. And the question is, well, wait a minute, what happened? Were they ever a Christian? Well, some of our Calvinist friends would say, well, no, then they were never a Christian to start with. And that strikes a lot of us like a cop-out. And so I think we've known that there are people who have lived differently. So let's just talk a little bit about what it means when people say perseverance of the saints. So we believe, as I think we've stated before, that one of the givens that we have is free will. We have the free will to make a variety of decisions. We have the free will to choose to be pleasant or choose to be nasty to the people around us. We have free will to eat McDonald's or Subway for lunch. We have a lot of choices that are available to us, and one of the things that we believe strongly is that humanity cooperates with grace. That God does not force himself upon us. We have the choice to cooperate and become Christians, and we have the freedom to resist. And so when we say perseverance of the saints, we believe that this is a voluntary process. That all along the life, that all along our Christian life, we have the choice whether to become a Christian or to spur Christianity, and we have a choice within Christianity to remain or abandon. If that's not the case, then what we would literally believe is we have freedom right up until the time that we become a Christian, and then the primary characteristic of the Christian life is loss of our freedom. We have the freedom to walk away. Now, sometimes we have people on another part of the theological spectrum in the Christian world that say, oh, you believe that you can lose your salvation, which is kind of a ridiculous phrase, and I wish we didn't use it. No, I don't believe we can lose our salvation. I don't know about you, but there's been a few times in the summer, often maybe I'm mowing the lawn or I'm taking a walk, I put on a baseball hat and I'm outside in the sun and I have my sunglasses on and I put my sunglasses up on top of the bill of my hat. Well, I'll forget that they're there. And then it comes back time to go outside again. I'll wander around the house for 20 minutes looking for the sunglasses that are there on my head all along. Or have you ever put your cell phone down and you forget where you left it and you look through the house for 15 minutes and you've lost your cell phone? We do not believe that one loses their salvation. Oops, where did it go? That's not the system at all. We do believe, however, that you can purposefully, as an act of will, walk away from it. Make an active choice. Now, let me say, some of our Calvinist friends over here that say, no, once you've made the decision, you are a Christian for life, there is absolutely nothing you can do. We believe that that is an extreme. Sometimes in our own world, in our spectrum, we see the opposite extreme. That someone says, hey, you called your brother a pinhead, you've lost your salvation. Or you talked in a sharp tone to the cashier at the gas station, you've lost your salvation. That's another extreme, where we literally live through life walking on eggshells. See, we believe that, like Paul instructed in Romans 5, that sin is not a frailty or a shortcoming or a bad day, but a purposeful choice to either not do what we know to do or to do what we know not to do. A lot of us have had children, and sometimes we've navigated the teenage years. There are things our kids do that are disappointing to us. Maybe they miss curfew. And so in response, we maybe ground them or take away a privilege for a few days or a week, or there's a variety of things. But we haven't broken off the relationship. They're still our children. There are still ongoing discussions. And then even sometimes, I think some of us know of a situation of a family or a friend where one of their children has just decided, I don't know, at a certain age to just get up and leave and have no contact with the family anymore. Moved without letting them know what's going on. Maybe refused to answer phone calls. I think that's a better picture. There are times in life we might do things out of neglect or out of a shortcoming. All of us have an area of life that we struggle with. Every single person. And I'd love to tell you that all you have to do is come to Christ and everything's taken care of. All your immaturities go away. All your shortcomings are fixed. But I don't think that's true. Some of us might struggle with gossip or struggle with pride or struggle with lust or struggle with greed. And it remains something that is present in our life. And we know that we have to be careful. We know we have to set up, guardrails, and we know certain things about ourselves. But a momentary failure does not mean we've broken off the relationship. I believe, though, it's possible for us to walk away from the faith. I don't think God plays hide and seek with his people. I think we know when that's at stake. I don't think we make one mistake. We call a brother a pinhead, or maybe in hindsight we could have talked with a nicer tone. None of those things represent a loss of relationship with God. In fact, with our spirits enlivened, we're more aware of those times that we maybe step over line, or we're more aware of our rough edges. But I believe we can get to a point in life when maybe we become less than aware, less than sensitive, because we keep stepping over this line. And I believe there's a time when God speaks to us and says, listen, that's quite enough. Is it going to be me or this old habit? Well, that's not much of a standard. I don't know when that is when my friend, I don't know when they cross over that standard, and my point is, that's exactly the point. That's when we leave God to do some of the judging. Our job is to love each other and help each other. But I do believe there's a chance we can walk away. It's not quick. It's not easy. It's not like some who have said, any momentary mistake means a loss of relationship. No. But we don't want to make the mistake the Calvinists do, that say, once you are a Christian, then that is guaranteed for the rest of your life. There is immense security, immense safety in grace. I think Christians make a big mistake when we short sell the power and availability of grace. We should never do that. That picture of the prodigal son, the father always looking off in the distance, waiting for the son's appearance, and then rushing to meet them. That's a wonderful picture. But also the father didn't stop the son from walking away. So it is not something that's done easily. But if we're insistent enough, God will let us walk away. And we have the freedom to do so. So when we say perseverance of the saints, do we believe it's possible to lose our salvation? I'm going to say no, because that shortchanges grace. But I do believe we can purposefully, in anger or pride or arrogance or a number of other things, we can willingly throw it away, because God never robs us of our freedom. And without freedom, there's no love. Without freedom, there's no relationship. Without free will, we don't even have the capability to worship. All we do is the mindless follow through of automatons that have been geared from before the world began to operate in a certain manner. That is not relationship, and that's why we reject it. But I want you to know there's safety in grace. And I want you to know that God's love is more expansive than we can ask or imagine, which is why we rest in confidence. I hope this helps. I hope this is some kind of middle ground. I want to appreciate you joining us. Hey, always feel free to like us, subscribe, and please feel free to leave a question. I'd love to get into a discussion with you on any of these topics. We'll look forward to seeing you back here again next week.